Blessings and welcome, everyone. Let's take a moment. We'll take a breath together. I am surrounded by the white light, protected, 'cause I do it right. We are surrounded by the white light, protected. Oh, 'cause I do it right. I am surrounded by the white light, protected, 'cause I am the light. I am surrounded by the white light, protected. Oh, 'cause I do it right. We are surrounded by the white light, protected. Oh, 'cause we do it right. We are surrounded by the white light, protected. Oh, 'cause we are the light. And so it is. And so it is. Welcome, beautiful, blessed souls. I am so very grateful to be here with you today. I'm so very, very, very grateful for this amazing community. And you know what? Last night when I went online to set up this live stream event, I saw that we are now a community of 888. It's so cool. You know, and it's interesting because I always thought in the back of my head that someday when it gets to when the subscribers get to 888, that like something magical, mystical, and not that there isn't magical, mystical. I always felt that like when we reached this peak, that something would shift, that we would all turn a corner together. So it's very exciting for me. I'm so very grateful. Thank you, all of the new subscribers. Thank you, all of your comments, all of your support, your shares, your likes, your thumbs up. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and today, this is our live stream, our weekly live stream called 4D Trinity, where we bridge fourth dimensional consciousness. That is the consciousness of your being and embodying your higher self, bridging that heavenly body, that heavenly mind, those balanced emotions, the truth of your feelings, bridging that with your earthly self. And it's learning how to straddle the worlds, the 3D, the world as we've been taught to know it, in engagement, in alignment, in reverence with the 4D, with that heart space consciousness, with that higher self, that Christ consciousness. And so I welcome you and I thank you. May everything I share, this video, all my videos, the tarot videos, everything that I have at this channel truly serve your path of spiritual growth and sovereignty, freedom, in a space of pain, of hurt, of faithlessness, of darkness, of sorrow. May we together rest in the heart, lean in to the love that always is, surrender to the peace that abides endlessly. And so it is. So thank you so much again, everyone. Today we have another amazing topic, and another amazing topic. I'm a little tongue-tied here. You know, thank you, Mina, she is a student and a wonderful, wonderful support at Instagram and here at YouTube. And I know her from Los Angeles, as I know many of you from all over the world. And many of you I don't know, but we're getting to know each other. But I welcome you, as Mina has. She has written me to my email that's down in the description box and saying, hey, what about these subjects? What about these titles? Could you talk about this? Could you talk about that? And I love that. And so last week's 4D Trinity was subject matter that she had an interest in, that felt appropriate and guided, and really for this kind of a talk show, for this kind of a live stream that we do here at 4DT. And also then this week's title and theme is also inspired by her. So thank you so much, Mina. I really appreciate it. And if there's anyone else out there watching through all time and space, through all dimensions, and you have a topic, you have something that you're interested in, that perhaps we can impart information, that as a community together, we can enlighten ourselves in way of that and come together and channel light and fractals in aspects of the subject matter or the theme in ways that may be new. And sometimes we just get to come together and hear what we already know over again so that we can be imbibed, imbued, and saturated in that knowledge, in that wisdom, that love is the truth. So if you are joining us today, please say hello in the comment box. I would be so very grateful. And again, I thank you so much, all of the new subscribers, every single person here, even if you're not a subscriber. Thank you for checking in and tuning in this morning. So we're going to get right to our topic: free will versus destiny, intention and desire. Now, this is a huge, huge one. And as you know, I'm in the midst, well, as some of you know, I'm in the midst of sharing caregiving with a dear, dear family member who's in home hospice. And so these live streams have usually gone on for over an hour and a half to 2.5, 3. The longest we've done is 4. But these days, currently, we're keeping it short, rounding it off to about an hour. So I'm excited to get down to the funky sound with you this morning so that we may delve into understanding these aspects of free will and destiny and taking a look at a deeper meaning about them. And you know what I want to do is I want to think about destiny and desire before we talk about free will and intention. And as always, as you know, one thing I love to do is I love to just go online and look up in the Google dictionary some definitions. I feel that it allows us to take a glimpse at the collective consciousness, the definitions, as we have come to, allow ourselves in agreement to think about these terms, to think about these themes. And so destiny, right? Online, if you just Google it, destiny, the events that will necessarily happen to a particular person or thing in the future. The hidden power believed to control what will happen in the future. Fate. Now, isn't that interesting? Destiny and fate. So I went ahead and I looked up fate. Fate. The development of events beyond a person's control, regarded as determined by a supernatural power. Destiny, providence, chance, luck, serendipity, fortune, kismet, and karma. Be destined to happen, turn out, or act in a particular way. Now, I think this is very, very interesting because all of those sub-definitions are in the positive. They're all things that fate is akin to the good that is yours, that is coming to you, that is yours no matter what things look like on the outside, no matter what the world could be throwing you, right? And don't worry, we are going to cover topics like money and lovers and relationships and all this very 3D things. But of course, we're going to bring the God, we're going to bring Christ, we're going to bring the love and the higher self aspects into this perceptionary so that we can understand things as our own higher selves. And so destiny is a very interesting aspect because it speaks to that truth that is residing in your heart. It speaks to the part of you that knowing what your fate is. What is your fate? Take a moment. What is in your heart? And not that. There's a very big difference between that which you mentally conjure in your mind and think you want to manifest and create. Destiny is not about manifestation. Destiny and fate are about allowing. It's 2 very different frequencies, right? So what is not something that you've conjured in your mind, but what is the destiny that you know is your truth in your heart? Think about it right now. Let it pop up. Don't think about it. Regards to your creative pursuits, the dreams, the visions, how you see your life unfolding. Are you a millionaire, right? Are you living off the earth? Do you have a sacred other? Are you married? Do you have children? It's the God phone. Hello? Blessings, dear God. Yes, we're so in it right now. Free will versus destiny, intention, and desire. God says good topics. So nice one. Nice one, Mina. Blessings. Yes, yes, I have it right here. Oh, you do? I love that. Okay. God says hello. And also that God is love. God is not a person. I love how you those things. Yeah. God is aware that there may be some of us who have a knee-jerk reaction to the word. There is so much, so many definitions and so much stigma and so much pain and polarity and dual perception and judgments placed upon this word. And God wants us to, or invites us to, just come back into relaxing, into the remembering of the purity, of the simplicity that God is love. And God is love without an opposite. God is love and only love. Thank you so much for that reminder always. Yes, I have. Okay, we will. Thank you, God. Namaste. God says namaste, everyone. Blessings. I love this little phone call from God. Okay, so this is, oop, there goes the phone. God's going to bring us into reading a portion of my book. As you know, I have a couple of free books. The links are down below in the description box. And I also have a couple of books that you can purchase. This is my latest book called How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. And it is a heaven on earth book. It is half workbook and half text. And I have another book, a nonfiction novel called The REIKI Apprentice, that is autobiographical about my life and my spiritual comeuppance as I apprenticed with a grand Reiki master who is also a trance channel healer. Lots of fun. So we're going to dig right in here because this whole book was born through me forcing a will, through me using law of attraction from, yes, there was heart there, yet I was using law of attraction from a place of needing and wanting, from a place of needing and wanting desire, not from a place of clear desire. The mind was not in attunement, really, truly wholly with the truth in my heart. And so that which came manifest reflected that. And there's a big, big lesson. We're going to just get right into this. In this chapter, I'm going to tell you a story that will change the way you use the law of attraction and vision boards forever. I remember wanting a black Prius so badly. At the time, my mode of transportation was the bus. I first heard about vision boards by way of learning the law of attraction. The theory: cut out pictures of things you want. Arrange and glue them upon a board. Place the board where you will see it often. All you have to do is ask the universe for what you want, believe it can be so, and be ready to receive. It's that easy. Sitting in the waiting room at my dentist, I found a picture of the car I wanted in a magazine. I asked the receptionist if I could tear the page out for use on my vision board. In amusement, she nodded yes. I casually ripped it out and placed it inside the pages of my journal. On the bus ride home, I became excited at finding a picture of the exact black Prius I so pined for. I'm almost there, I thought to myself. First, the thought is generated, then the picture in the magazine comes to be placed on my vision board, and then the actual car comes. When I got home, I pulled my vision board from the wall above my desk and added this precious piece of the puzzle. It went right next to the imaginary picture of me, a beautiful brunette with a hot body, of course, being romantically swooned by a faceless silver hair. The picture of my new car, placed on my vision board, helped me conjure feelings and mental pictures of how it would feel to spend time in my new car. Besides vision boarding, I loved writing affirmations. I wrote out 100 affirmations that described my perfect new lover and exactly how he would show up in my life. I read it aloud every single day, sometimes while focusing on my vision board, sometimes by repeating the affirmations in the mirror. My new lover showed up in less than 3 months with 99 out of 100 personality traits exactly aligned with my affirmation wish list. I'm serious. His height was what I affirmed. His silver hair, what I affirmed. You know, he's charming, of course, all these beautiful things. Now, here we go. The dream started coming true. The lover, the car that I wanted. Well, guess what? My dream man that I had affirmed, that I had on my vision board, that I needed, that I wanted so badly, my dream man came with my dream car, a Prius. And because my dream man was just that at the time, he gave me the second key to the car. And I quantum jumped. I timeline jumped, right? We talk about quantum timelines. One moment you're in this reality, the next moment you're in a different reality. So one day I'm riding the bus, dreaming about driving a Prius. That was my dream car several years ago. Dreaming about having a Prius, and this new man, this fantasy man in my life, which I need to stress to you, was coming from a place of needing and wanting. It was coming, those needs and those wants of wanting these things, was coming from a place of me not being content with my bus pass, of me not being content at the place where I was in my life. It was not coming from a place of like, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for what I have, and wouldn't it be so lovely now to share this love with another? Wouldn't it be so lovely for perfect transportation to be brought to me? You know, and this is a fine, fine line, because we are taught with law of attraction, we are taught with intending to know exactly what you want down to a T and to focus on that. Yet what I found is that, yes, that's exactly what I did. And I conjured this man, and he came with a Prius. He gave me the key to the car. Well, here we go on my little adventure. 3 weeks later, I'm driving his car and I get rear-ended. And it was the most excruciating pain I had ever felt in my whole life, which took 2 years of therapy, physical therapy, chiropractic, lots of wine, and lots of pain meds to get through that. So that's one very interesting thing. Cut to, there's a much longer story in this chapter, but cut to, a couple years later, we become engaged and we've moved in together. We're living this certain life. My partner becomes depressed, right? My fantasy dream man becomes depressed. We start not being able to pay the bills. There's red urgent letters coming in for that Prius, for my dream car Prius that came with my dream man, saying it's going to be repossessed, right? This is over the space of a couple years of me calling in, wanting so badly those things that I desired from a place of want and need, using my free will to chant, to affirm, to look at that vision board, to make it so, to almost push it into being so. And what happened is, at a certain point, my then fiance became so depressed, he attempted suicide in that very Prius that I had conjured along with him on my vision board and with my affirmations and my needing and my wanting. He had actually attempted suicide in that car. I'm not telling you this story to scare you. I am simply telling you, I've been there. I have lived it. Perspection, my perspective and perception. I have this angle to share with you, and that's how and why I was inspired to write a book about the law of vibration, which is the next step from the law of attraction. And that we've done several 4DTs in the past, but it's become more refined and more clear now. And so we can come back and talk about this more. But I think it's interesting. The God Phone had us read from this chapter as we get into this today. And so I'm going to read the very last couple of paragraphs. The experience with my fiance and the Prius brought to my awareness a new practice, the law of vibration. With this practice, I began relinquishing the need to change my life in any way at all. In burning my vision board, I let go. Oh, and so I burned my vision board. I got so freaked out. I got so freaked out that what I was creating and conjuring and manifesting, I let that vision board go. With this practice of law of vibration, I began relinquishing the need, in italics, to change my life in any way at all. In burning my vision board, I let go of thinking I knew what should happen in order for me to be happy. In burning my vision board, I gave my life to a higher power. I wondered how many other people had experiences with the law of attraction like mine. At a time when I learned a prayer from A Course in Miracles. As many of you know, I am a student of A Course in Miracles. And the prayer asks God/love, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? This prayer invites the recipient to completely let go of the need to establish what is missing in their life, for example, by placing a picture of it on the vision board, right? I will read that again. This prayer invites the recipient to completely let go of the need to establish what is missing in their life, for example, by placing a picture of it on a vision board. You get that, right? Instead, teaching that trust, alignment, and surrender are master tools for co-creating a life you love to live, and so it is. So the point here is that it was a massive healing, a massive humbling experience that birthed this book. So if it resonates at all, go online. It's on Amazon. I only have it on paperback at this time. I'm not on iBooks or Kindle yet with it. That's all coming in time. But you can read through a bit of it. You know how they have the look inside at Amazon if it's of interest to you. Realm, there is a very different part of us that is rooted in the heart versus rooted in what the mind thinks it needs versus what the desires of the heart are. And what I call the desires of the heart, I call they are not bound from a place of need or want, from a place of lack or scarcity. They are what we come into this life with. Those are the parts of you in your heart, the desires that are clear, that are pure, that are a part of you that you know are your destiny, that you know are your fate. For example, my whole life, I've known that I am a speaker, that I am a teacher, that I would be on TV, or that I would have shows, that I would be speaking and sharing on certain teachings. And over the years, that has shifted. That began as me being a singer into rock bands, etc. And over the years, there were several opportunities to sign contracts, whether it was a publishing contract, a record deal, and nothing ever felt right to me, right? I would feel it and I'd be like, it doesn't feel the highest order for me at this time. And so I said no. Now, granted, there's a part of me that's like, well, what if I would have said yes? I could have used that. Even if there was a one-hit wonder out of it, I could have used that to then later like break in with my books, into the world and whatnot. Yet I don't care enough about that. I don't care enough about just getting something, just getting somewhere for the sake of getting somewhere else, if it means diminishing my joy, if it means stepping outside of my integrity, if it means not being authentic and true to my heart. Destiny, the clear destiny, your pure destiny will always guide you in the way of making higher self decisions on behalf of your 3D self, higher self decisions on behalf of how you share your creations, your projects, your relations with your body, your sex, with others. Right? The desires and the desires that are pure will be aligned in that same way. Now, desire, when it is coming from needing or wanting, can spring us and bring us into a place of coveting, into a place of needing, of wanting, of thinking that we need and want something that is outside of us, something that we don't have, that we don't perceive ourselves as already having. And this can lead to greed. And this stems from a lack consciousness, from a scarcity consciousness of thinking that what you have already is not enough, of thinking and believing that there is a scarcity and that you better grab it, you better hold on to it while you can, because there's only so much to go around. Coveting is 3D. Coveting keeps us bound to the 3D. In fact, I looked that one up too. Let's go ahead and have a look at that definition. And I see someone, oh, blessings, Tam, here. So this coveting is a trippy one. To covet. yearns to possess or have something. To possess, to have something. You see, as we become enlightened, we realize that we don't own anything. We realize that even our lovers, our husbands, our wives, our children do not belong to us. I realize as an author that the books that I write do not belong to me. I have a sacred responsibility to hold the teachings with integrity and to listen to divine source as to be guided to as to how to share them. You know, and for many years it was like, no, these are my books. Right? And now I get it. Now it's very different. And now the playing field is way open because it's not about me. And so as we give up the me in our desires, what happens is it becomes about we, it becomes about a greater whole. And so the difference between that clear desire, the pure desire, the truth that you know that is in your heart. And again, we talked about this at the very beginning of the show today. What is your destiny that you know is truth in your heart? What is that which you came in with, that you've known since you were a little boo-boo as far back as you can recall? What do you know about yourself? That is your clear desire. That is your pure destiny. That is the truth. That is your fate. Now, and with free will, we can choose the way that we get to that fate, the way that we get to that realization of destiny, that realization of the purity of our desires coming to manifest in the most high ways or not. With our free will, we can do whatever we want to do in this world. And isn't that amazing? Isn't it just something so profound? We think about the highways and how there is this collective agreement that we'll all drive in one direction to go here and we'll all drive in the other direction to go there. Now, once in a while, there's someone who decides to drive on to the highway through an exit on ramp going in the opposite direction. Once in a while, there's someone who drives when they're drunk. And so it, you know, or they just things once in a blue moon, right? Or if you watch the news, maybe it's more, right? There's a lot of information regarding that these, it's not, it's where it's disagreeing with the collective. It's creating inharmony with what seems to be harmoniously functioning and flowing. And so there are these agreements in our life that we have, even subconscious, unconscious, unbeknownst to us. Often we just go in through life expecting I'm going to get on the highway and all the cars are going to be going in one way. All the cars are going to be going in one direction, right? Yet at any moment, if I'm having a really, really bad day, or I'm on drugs, or I want to kill myself, or there's something funky going on, and I decide with my free will, I'm just going to turn this car in the opposite direction. There's going to be a 20-car mashup. I don't care who else dies. And this is all in a bubble of light, of course. This is just metaphor stories. You know, then I can use my free will to shift that flow of that collective. And so likewise, we can use our free will to do whatever we want. There's a collective, right? We know we take our children to school. We free willingly accept, on one hand, that we are a parent to this child and that we are taking this child to an institution or to a charter school or whatever it is, and we are letting them go, and we are, with our free will, allowing that the highest good will happen. Or we have our free will to take the child or children and to homeschool them. Now, free will. I love what Marianne Williamson says about free will. She says, free will is the ability to think whatever thoughts you want. Free will is the ability to think whatever thoughts you want. Now, this is huge when we think about our collective consciousness, the grid matrix that we talk about here all the time, because everything here is, minds are so very powerful. Our thoughts are so very powerful. And with your free will, you can think anything you want. And I love how she says that you can think anything you want. And we know there's that other aspect. Yeah, we can be on that freeway and turn in the other direction. We can do whatever we want to, right? And usually, isn't it interesting, right? There's that paradigm of duality in the 3D where it's so massive that my mind wants to go there first, of like to the demonstration of those situations whereby you can buy guns, you can go into a school and shoot, you can go into a post office and just start shooting people. Now, is that right? Is that wrong? Is that good? Is that bad? We're not going to answer those questions right now. But the point is that there is free will, and there is a certain agreement that, okay, we can buy guns in this country, and there's a certain agreement that perhaps we will only use them for our own protection, or et cetera, et cetera. Yet we all know that at any given moment, you could be anywhere, at the restaurant, at whatever, and someone could decide to use those guns in a different way. So what is our intention? What is your intention? Now, if your energy is askewed, if you are depressed, if you're on a lot of drugs, or if you're not in alignment, right? Mind, body, and emotions, if there's a very large disconnect, then perhaps the intention, and this is all story, and I know it's very dramatic, yet the intent may be to buy guns to harm others. Perhaps someone is in a lot of pain. They are walking in the world with a lot of unfinished business in their heart, with a lot of pain, with a lot of fear, with a lot of hurt. And the only out is to inflict that, is to cause that pain unto others, right? And then to take themselves out, possibly. That is something that often happens, to be freed, to be released. Okay, so those are really, really far out. And I know it was going kind of into that violent realm there for a moment. So all with love and light. But just to demonstrate the realms that we can go, of how far we can take our free will. You can sleep with your best friend's husband. You can decide of your free will to sleep with your, with your best friend's wife. What is your intention? And is your desire clear, or is it rooted in a place that is coming from need and want? So, clear and pure desire, clear and pure intention, clear heart space with our higher self, with the Christ consciousness, with the what would Jesus do? Would Jesus go and sleep with the other wife? Would Jesus go and, steal or whatever it might be? We come back to, and the clarity and the purity is always there, you see. Sometimes if you're depressed, you get sucked into addiction, you get sucked into substances or something, then it's can be cloudy, right? Yet if we really pray, if we really ask, if we really call in our angels, our guides, those divine light beings that we work with, and even if you don't work with them, or whatever name you give, that power that is love, that is in you, but that is beyond you in a way. Just asking for that help, asking for that clarity will help to begin to shine that light in a way if you feel that you don't know what your pure desire and pure intentions are. But we know, and what we're instating today is that those aspects of desire, of intention, of free will as they reside within us that are rooted in love are those which keep us in heaven on earth realizations, are those that keep us in peace, are those that allow us to be sovereign and free, are those that keep us in trust and in truth. You have had miracles happen on behalf of you and others in your presence. And all we're doing as we allow and align our intention and our free will with the purity, with the clear desires that are in our hearts, is we are stepping out of the way, right? And what we are doing is we are aligning with the good in the world, with the highest good in the world, and we're stepping out of time. We are stepping out of time. Now, when our desires, when our intentions, when our free will is used in a way that is coming from that place of need, of want, right? We have the clear desire, that truth that we know is the truth in our heart, and then we have the needing and wanting desire that keeps us bound in the 3D, in the dance of the polar opposites, of the duality. There can come with that a forcing, a pushing, a needing, a wanting, and your happiness, our happiness, out of our desire that is coming from want and need, is dependent on us attaining that person, place, or thing. Is our happiness is dependent on the experience of what happens regarding that person, place, or thing that we so deeply want and feel that we need in our lives. In that way, we become bound to time, the miracles of the Most High, the divine higher order that serves you and all, is not allowed its full maximal potential to work on your behalf. So let me just take a look here. Last minute videos, blessings. Thank you so much for coming back. I remember you were here with us before. Do you believe in the behavior of animals, like when they act strange? I get weird intuitions of a coming storm. Is it possible to use up all the spirituality as a fuel in our earthly desires? Is it possible? I think animals are very, very intuitive, and they often act weird, it is said, when the weather changes. They feel vibrations. They are closer to the earth, and it said that they feel the vibrations of the earth and that they may start to run around. There's lots of stories of animals acting weird before earthquakes, volcano eruptions, big storms. So absolutely, I'm in agreement with that. Is it possible to use up all the spirituality as a fuel in our earthly desires? I'm not sure I really understand that question. Is it possible to use up all the spirituality as a fuel in our earthly desires? Well, let me tell you one thing. Your spirituality, you spirit, there is no, it is eternal. So there was no beginning, there is no end. So there's no limits on it, right? And understanding. So let's keep going, right? Earthly desires. So let's talk about this. Money. Money's a big one, right? Stories. There's a woman who has her own story. She's an elderly woman, and she's had a lot of issues with her son over her lifetime. Now, there was a period of time where her son was heavy into drugs, and she had to support him and pay his rent for a couple of years to help this rut, or to just support him, that he had a home and a place to live while he was doing that cycle, while he was in that realm. Now, that's very lovely, and thank goodness there was the funds and the ability for her to support her son in that way. And thank goodness heal and, you know, move into a different stage of his life for his highest good. Now, with that though, this woman, it has been 40 years since that situation. This woman, the mother of the son, continues to tell that story over and over again, and will show you the bag of money order receipts that she has for all the money she spent paying his rent over that time. So this is a very interesting thing, isn't it? Isn't it? Why am I even telling this story? I'm not sure yet. It's just coming through. But it's that our attachment to money, the story's over. The past is the past, yet this woman perpetuates this through holding on to those receipts, through holding on to that story, through telling that story over and over and over again. Now that is her free will, right? Is that her destiny? It was her destiny, it seems, to take care of her son in that way. Yet, perhaps, if there is a looking into a deeper aspect of the intention and desire of what was happening, the desire as a mother to take care of your children, even if they're on drugs and they're running with the wrong crowds or whatever, right? Feels that that's innate, that there is this tendency to just, like, that's what you do as a mother or as a parent. Yet the intention, perhaps, is a little askew, that the intention was to take care of him, but also to have this story to prove, right, that what am I saying? Please, higher self, help me. Higher self is saying this is just an example. This is just an example of how we inadvertently can become attached to greed. And isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Because the desire to help someone, even though it has happened in the past and that person has been helped and has come around full corner, There is still the story that can hold us into the past, that can perpetuate a sense of greed and of need to be seen, when really it's, for her, it's about her, the mother. Yet really, on a higher level, on a 4D level, it was about her being of service to the son and being allowed to let that go so that she can walk in peace. There's a certain unpeace because the story has to be kept being told, and the proof of the receipts keep needing to be shown, and having witnesses about them. So I'm going to move on because I know that's a little kooky out there. But another thing, there's this Alfred Hitchcock show that always stuck with me. And, you know, there's those old black and whites. It's almost like Twilight Zone, where there was this father who had a son who was a race car driver, and the father was very much into money, and the father really, really needed this $50,000, and he even, I don't care how it has to happen. I don't care how it has to happen. You know, it's like he was praying. I don't know if he was praying to God or whatnot, but he was in his own world and saying, like, I don't care how it has to happen. I need this $50,000, and I don't care. Just make it so. Make it happen. So the irony of the story, and tell me if you've seen this one, is that the son goes to race a car, right? He's a race car driver, has a race that next week, and he wins. And they had some agreement whereby the father was, what's that word? Where the father would inherit the money of any winnings should anything happen to the son. And don't you know it, in this story, the son won, but then his car crashed into someone else and it exploded and he died. And so the father got the money. And so there's the irony of, like, well, how badly do we be wanting and needing things to come about, and that we can force a will, like my story that I told you about in my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, that needing and that wanting for a person to make me happy, for a thing to make me happy, actually brought about one of the biggest life crises I have ever experienced in my life. And now, granted, I don't regret a thing. It's all perfect, right? These are lessons. These are divine gifts, right? We turn our pain into power ultimately. Yet we have our free will, and there are different ways to go about. Are we going to push? Are we going to come from a place of needing and wanting that money? Or are we going to allow ourselves and our needs to be met through a higher order? Are we going to allow to use our free will in a way that is going to exercise bridging heaven on earth, bridging trust, bridging faith, bridging the metaphysics of miracles, of mysticism into our day-to-day lives by knowing and by intending, by speaking the truth that all of your needs are met, that everything that you could ever desire as that pure desire, the pure stories that you know are your truth in your heart, shall be met in the highest order. And remembering that the highest order is about your needs, right? Being, in this light of what I'm saying here, the pure desires of your heart being met in the highest light and for the highest good of all. We are all connected. And so, like that Alfred Hitchcock story, that man, he got his $50,000, but he lost his son. Now, and I know it's just an Alfred Hitchcock story, like a Twilight Zone kind of a theory, yet this stuff happens in the world. How does that affect the mother, the brother, the sister? And how does it really affect his happiness and his joy? He got his money, but he lost his son. And he knew somewhere inside that he had something to do with that, forcing this will. So being very much the need, the lack consciousness, and it's the tar body is so seductive. It is so seductive, and it knows how to speak each of our individual languages. It knows how to tap the trigger, the points within us that feel that lack is real, that feel that fear that we will not be taken care of, that there is that have everything to do with everything that is not the truth. The tar body, the shadow, the opposite of your light body, knows how to trigger your fears, knows how to talk to you in your ear or through your subconscious old ancient beliefs and modes and ways and patterns of being that will help you, that will aid you to be seduced. And I mean you, and I'm talking about us, right? I've been there. I've been there. That's how I get to talk about it, right? And you too, with your friends and your communities, because once you've been there and you've turned that corner and you see the light, you're like, oh shit. Yeah, I've come from a place of greed, of need, of wanting. And those life situations most likely kick your ass. And if it's not now, and believe me, I'm not prophesying, your karma, your lessons are whatever they are. And I don't need my words to be true in the light of the steps you take on your path. I speak from my truth though. And from what I have seen with clients, with friends, with family as well, is that from that pushing, that needing, that wanting, we are creating and generating in our own lack consciousness. And so that which we are bringing forth to come manifest in our lives will always be from that place of unholy, of unsacred, will always be from that place of forcing a will to a certain point. And I know this stuff gets so complex because we're taught in this age of law of attraction, think it, see it, feel it, receive it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And what I state in my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration, is that there is an acute difference, though, between just being in alignment with what the mind thinks, with just what your emotions think. And remember, we've talked about this before. Emotions are not real. Your feelings are real. Your emotions are born from your mind and your thoughts. Your feelings are born from your heart. Two very right and one is not wrong. What we learn here at 4DT, at this show, and in life, in these teachings that we share, is we learn how to bridge them. We learn how to unify the heart, the truth, the clear desires, the pure intentions of the heart, of what you know is yours already, that you've born. I am an actor. I am an artist. I am taken care of. I am whatever it is, fill in the blank, healthy, happy, married. I am able to have children, even if all the doctor's tests say that you can, like whatever your reality is that is true in your heart, right? We allow ourselves to see it through, but we also let it go. And that's the gift, is that you can intend to win the lotto, right? You can say, yeah, I want to win millions of dollars, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong about generating that kind of abundance and having that ability to just be that divine co-creator of that kind of financial sustenance, right? And then there's your free will. When it does come, say it does come. Say you really, really want that $50,000. You really, really think that all your needs will be met, that you will actually be happy when you get that $1 million. And then that $1 million comes. And maybe, yes, you are happy. And maybe that's a part of your divine fortune, and everything comes into alignment just from having that sense of security and safety. That perhaps it comes in and it goes just as quick because we have a lack mentality around it. If there's a needing and a wanting and thinking that that is going to help me be happy, once I make that $1 million, then I'll have everything I need, everything I desire. Well, we've heard a million stories about this, right? Where this is not always the case. There's actually a story of a friend that I know who her divine this one desire to make $1 million by the time she turned 40, to make $1 million by the time she turned 40, to make $1 million by the time she turned 40. And God rest her soul, she made that $1 million and then she died of cancer, like right after that. So it's like, what do we want? What are we going for? And not that there's a right or wrong. There's just these interesting learning curves in life. So you want money? What does the purity, what does the clarity of your heart say? And when we meditate, when we connect with spirit, we connect with God, we connect with higher source, we know that we can relax. We know that we are already taken care of. We know that we have everything we need. And sometimes we're brought into a place where we have so little that we do end up praying. Even if you're not a prayer, even if you don't believe in God, you might be brought to a place of like, okay, God, I've never talked to you before, but I have zero money. I need shoes for the baby, whatever it might be. And so you ask, and then you are shown, you listen, you receive those divine intuitions, those divine hunches. Another friend of mine, his mother really needed a job. She really needed a job. She prayed. The next day, she heard a voice that said, put your nice clothes on and go to ABC. And she's like, why do I want to go to ABC? They're like, just go to ABC. She goes to ABC. At ABC, she meets someone who says, oh, well, you look nice. And she goes, well, yeah, I'm going for a job interview, but I'm not really sure where. And he goes, oh, well, they're looking for a person right across the street. She's like, you sure? Are you sure? She goes across the street. She gets the job. It's like, you know, these kinds of things. You meet someone and they're like, oh, I'm giving all these secondhand baby clothes to the secondhand store. And you're like, oh my God, I need shoes for the baby. These are the perfect size. And they're like, well, take it, take all the clothes, take the blankets, it's like, there's a divine order. The point is that there's a divine order and nothing is without when we let go. Nothing is without. You will always have everything you need, everything the purity of your heart desires and requires to flourish. We get in the way. The desires of the ego, the use of the free will in a way that is coming often from a place of ego, from needing, from wanting, from lack consciousness is what distorts the journey, is what brings us into a different level, right? And we're going to talk about the body here in a moment. So Last Minute Video says, it's like thinking $1 billion and bailing out at a third, fourth billion. It's like thinking $1 billion and bailing out at 3/4 billion. I think I want to agree with you, but again, I'm a little unclear of what you're saying. But I believe we're on the same trajectory. Thank you for your comments. I really appreciate this interaction, and I know I'm kind of on a roll here, so we're going to keep going. Okay, so the body, right? So the body. I mean, I don't know where you are in the world. Maybe you can let me know. I think it's interesting. Often we have like a global community, which is really cool when people are like, I'm coming in from India, I'm coming in from Germany, you know, that's really nice to hear that. But here in the States, there's, you know, it's just the stigmatism and people know there's a thing about, it's all over the world, or having a certain type of body, or maybe there's plastic surgery, or there's facelifts, or it's like you get to a certain age and you need to start nip tucking. And these are all just beliefs and grids and theories and things and ways to see things. So what is the purity, right? What is the purity of your desire for your body? Do you need and want those six-pack abs or those calves? And I know it sounds hilarious, but I know people who've had plastic surgeries just for their calves, men who have had just calf implants, or chest implants, and women who've had breast implants, or, you know, facial, I was going to say facial recognition. That's hilarious, right? But, you know, different things, nip tuck additions and succinitions, and, you know, just things to change the body. And it is interesting because this is just a story, bubble of light, but in my experience of watching friends, family, just people I know, when it's come from a place of need, of want, of really hating their body, of really not being at peace with what is, stretch marks, cellulite, whatever, 500 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever it might be, when it's this need to change it so badly because you freaking hate what this is right now, often, again, this is just a story in a bubble of light, just what I have experienced through my voyeurism, is that those nip tuck ties, those boobs, those whatever, happen. And sometimes with some oddity in those experiences of the surgeries, but also that now you have boobs, and unless you really are at peace and in love with your body and accepting it the way it is, big boobs, little boobs, no boobs, whatever the scene is, you will never be happy. Right? So there's a sense of like, I finally got my boob job, and yet I'm still not at peace with my body because there's something deeper, and it's a call for love, a call for acceptance. So it doesn't matter if you get nip tuck tied, whatever it might be, right? That's your free will. It may be your intention to come to a greater level of self-love with yourself by viewing your body as more perfect than perhaps you view it currently. And for some, that means going under the knife or having certain treatments done for that to be, right? And there's no right or wrong. This is the land. We live in the world. This is free will. You can do whatever you want, especially if you have money or you have connections. You could do whatever you want with your body. You can do whatever, right? You can think whatever you want about your body. But now the point is what you're thinking in alignment with your clear desire, with your pure desire. And now granted, let me just balance that little story out, is that I equally know people who've had nip tuck ties, boobs taken, added or removed, who are very happy. And those who I have experienced that I know who have had those kinds of things done that are in peace have found a love for their body. There was one friend, there is one friend who had very, very large breasts. And for a long time, just the bra strap into the shoulders would just hurt, and her back would hurt. She was very generously blessed in this life. She was able to have a surgery to make them smaller. But before that, she went through a very deep healing because for many years, she cursed her breasts. Just these fucking tits, and whatever all those things are. They were always in her way. They caused her back pains, she couldn't find a bra that fit, all this stuff, right? Just imagine your body part, whatever it might be, right? In the way that you talk to your foot or your ankle or your butt or your cellulite or your stomach or whatever it is. And so she went through that, and then she realized she had this opportunity to actually get this reduction that to her was like a dream come true for so many reasons. Yet en route to that reduction, she realized, well, wait a minute. Here, let me love what is now, because she also had this realization where as she was cursing, this is all a bubble of light story, yet it's true, as she was cursing her bosom, she recollected, she's an adopted woman, and she recollected that her biological mother actually had breast cancer. And so she realized, she went, whoa, as she went down the rabbit hole of healing her relationship with her body, with her breasts, she realized, what am I saying to my body? What am I doing to myself? Let me make peace. Let me just bless them and all their deliciousness, whatever they are here now, and make peace with my body as it is. And from that peaceful, graceful place, allow the honor of that surgery that will bring her into a place that is more who she feels is her truth. So there's these different ways, right, of seeing things, of being with things. Now, equally, we can desire someone else's body. We can desire, right, that lusty, that just like wanting to. You will. You can do whatever you want. You can rape someone if you want. And now I'm not saying to go and do that. You know what I mean? I'm being sassy here. And now, granted, I am being in that way with a very, very polarized word and grid. And I mean no harm and no ill and no foul to anyone who has had that experience, even a glimmer of that experience at all. Because I know there's many women that have come forth that have said that they have had even attempted rape, right? Where that's been attempted to them several times in many different domains and areas. And I know me myself, I've been followed in cars, and anyway, it's a whole thing. And so I mean no foul, I mean no harm, but I'm just going to that degree. Just like where you can buy a gun and you can either use it to protect yourself and never actually even take it out of the case, but it might just be this clear desire, a sense of like, I live on a mountain on a hill with a bunch of, coyotes, and I have a baby, and I'm going to get a shotgun because I need to like shoot a bear, or I live alone as a woman or as a man, even in the middle of somewhere. And it's my divine guidance to learn how to use a BB gun or some rifle. I don't know. I'm not a gun owner or a user, but I'm just putting this into these trajectories that we might understand. And I'm using these very harsh kind of out there values to bring it home into a simple place, right? And so you have free will. You can do whatever you want with your sex. You can be a prostitute. You can force your sex onto other people, right? You can become a guru. Myself and Will are talking about this all the time, where there's all these gurus, there's all these stories, right? And if you start reading enough scriptures or you look into all these different teachers and teachings, well, not teachings, but teachers, that there's this guru syndrome where these teachers, they sleep with all their students. They make babies sometimes, with all. So the body, we can have desire. Now, I am not to say whether that guru or this teacher or this person reproducing or having sex with this person is right or wrong. There's free. Where is your desire coming from, right? And obviously, with these gurus, the guru wanted to have the sexual interaction, and so did the student or the I was going to say groupie, or the the student. We'll just leave it at that, And so there were these, in many cases, these agreed upon connections, and where it's agreed upon, right? That is a different storyline. That is a different trajectory that you will take yourself down the teacher being the student, and they're just being that, perhaps that attraction or that energy, right, the chemistry there, without actually acting on it, but maybe working with the energy without it meaning physical penetration. So the body desires. Now, lovers, right? When we talk about body, we talk about sex, we talk about lovers. There's so many love potions. There's so many different botanicas or palm readers or people that you can go to that will say, that will read you or read your cards, and that will tell you like, oh, yes, this man or this woman is in your future. I can see this, but you need my help. Buy this candle for $20, or say this prayer, or, use witchcraft or whatever it is. And we do not do that here. I do not prophesy. I am not a witch. I'm not a witch. I am Tuesday, right? And I'm not saying anything's bad or right or wrong, yet I'm not me. And we do not cast spells. We do not force a will here, ever, 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 ever. Everything we do is always for the highest good of all. So like that, if there's a lover or a potential lover, there's someone that you really fancy, and you feel that physical desire, you feel that chemical like, woof, woof, it's getting hot in here. Woo, if it is a shared consensus, and or you have a sense that that person feels the same way about you, right? Perhaps there is some destiny there. There is some fate. The two of you will join together. And it is your free will that will allow it to happen, to come about. It is their free will as well, joined with yours, that will allow things to align and to come about in a certain way. And it's a different trajectory of the storybook. The things can come, you yourself and that person can come together in a divine way, where there is allowing, there is space, there is an acknowledgement of that feeling, and where you don't force it. You simply allow yourself to be present with that experience, present with them, and allow the organic, natural flow of things to take place without needing or wanting it to happen by now already. If they really liked me, they would have kissed me by now. Now, here we go. That's your free will as well. There's a certain point, right, in any relationship, maybe you're married, maybe you're a lover or not, right, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever it might be. But especially if you're in a bond, there was a point in that relationship where the two of you knew there was a certain energy, there was a certain frequency, and you two consensually energies to go down that adventure story of the book, to go down that trajectory and to see what happens. And for some, you go out for a while. For others, you get married, you have kids. There's so many different planes of experience that can happen. Yet, when that attraction, when that desire is rooted from an intention, like, what do you want? What do you want? Do you want a one-night stand? Do you want, to have one in a realm where all good, where healthy love, where understanding, commitment, compassion, loyalty can come to pass, can be. These are all different aspects. And we think about these things, right? When we start to fancy someone, when someone starts to fancy us, we're like, well, wait a minute. Do I want to be single? Do I want to get involved? Is there something here? Think about our intentions. What is your intention? And if you just want a one-night stand, then you can go to happy hour, and chances are probably just meet someone and make out and have some fun, and, no judgment if that's your thing. Cool. Yet, where there's this desire, where there's this like, I want that person, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get them. I mean, there's TV shows. I don't watch them, but, and I really don't watch TV. But, if you watch some shows, there's on YouTube or whatever, there's commercials for shows, right? Or I'm at a family member's house, and there's like these commercials for like these revenge shows and, these lover things, and where there's often this focus of getting what you want, right? Getting the guy, getting the girl by any means you can. And again, now we're getting into Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock territory. Do you really want to have that kind of a relationship where someone has been wooed, seduced, right, through manipulation into your realm to like you, to fancy you, to want to be around you? Or Can we allow ourselves to rest and relax in the experience of the proliferation of those feelings of ecstasy, of joy, of that intimacy, of building that intimacy with a sacred other, with a friend, with a potential lover, you know, however it might be going down, and step back and use our intention. What is your intention? Is it just to fuck? Is your intention just to have a man? I just need to be married so I can make babies. You know, it's like, really, where are you coming from? What is your truth in your heart? What does the clear, the pure desire and truth in your heart say? And this is a big lesson for me. So I'm going to go back to that story I told you about how I conjured my fiance and a Prius with the law of attraction, a vision board and affirmations. And now here's the truth that took me 5 years from that relationship and him committing suicide in that Prius for me to really get. And it's that I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to live with someone. And I couldn't give two flying fucks about a Prius. Yet I was swept up in the world, in the 3D, in the needing and the wanting, because I was not happy in my life circumstances. Like my friend with the boobs, she had to make peace with her boobs before she could like get the boobs that she really wanted and then just be content with her body. But she had to love herself first. I was not loving. I was not relaxing. I was not trusting that where I was in life with my bus pass and my $300, 3-roommate apartment that was perfect, but I was not seeing the perfection there. I needed more. I wanted more so badly. I needed these things. And it came and it was beautiful. And then it still is. Again, I bless it all. Yet the point is that we can force a will. We can push things into happening. We can chant. We can make it happen. We can affirm it with all of our fervor. Yet there is this divine aspect of letting it all go. Yes, use the law of attraction. Yes, know what you want. Know what your pure desires are in your heart. Be clear about it. Sure, put a timeline on it if that makes you feel joyful, if that excites you. See the full proliferation of the vision and feel it, but then let it go. Let it go. You give it to love. You give it to God. You give it to the quantum organizer. You give it to your higher self to help organize the who, what, when, where, how. Because the thing is that when we force our free will, when our intention is not rooted in, well, you know what? I really, really have attraction for this person. There is obvious chemistry. We're very intimate together. I know they're single. I'm single. It's not like we're trying to do anything, ill against anything or anyone outside of us. Yet I haven't been guided to kiss them yet. I feel like it's not time yet. Then you get to trust that. What is your intention? Your desire feels pure. You know that they like you at least enough to keep hanging out with you, to keep hanging out and coming around. Is it your destiny? Is it your fate to be together? Well, you're already together to a certain degree. And is it the destiny and the fate for this to go to another level, to a different trajectory of that storybook? Well, what is your intention? Allowing that intention to match the purity of your fancy this person. I really feel like I want to kiss them. I really feel like I want things to move into another direction. I haven't actually had this conversation with this person. I really don't know what the 3D, what the reality of this is. But universe, I really feel this pull. I can't stop thinking about them. So higher self, help me clarify a pure intention that matches the clarity and the purity of the desire that I feel in my heart for this person. Higher self will come in. Your higher self will come in, and it will help you remember to allow for the highest good of both of you, where there is no forcing of a will, where there is no forcing or trying to manipulate or use magic to try to make someone like you. That is unreal. That is a certain reality that we call here the reality with the small r, and where we are going as we bridge fourth dimensional consciousness and heaven on earth realization is moving into capital R, that is rooted in love, that is allowing, that is love and only love, the purity, the pure desires, the truth in your heart coming to pass, right? And you have your free will. Perhaps there will be a time and space set up where you're like, you can't help it. You won't even think about it. You'll just kiss that person, or you'll hold their hand, or they'll hold your hand, and it'll be like, and it'll be something will shift. It will turn a corner. And granted, I know when you fancy someone, it gets to that point, you're like, what do I do? What do I do? What are they going to do? What are we going to do? And so you get to use your free will and relax into your intention and trust. So this brings us to your job, to your career, to your home. So there's many actors, many actors. Yes, there are many actors. There are many of us that are creatives, that are, sure, there's a lot of us that do the 9 to 5, yet there are plenty of us who do not do 9 to 5, who are creatives, who create a life in a different way than the norm will say, right? And I will look at these comments here in a moment. And so that with this, with your job, with your creations, with you trusting your entrepreneurial spirit or divine guidance, there is this sense of really having to surrender, of really sitting back and trusting that it already is. Again, let's come back to what is the desire in your heart when it comes to your creative, your work, your job, your career, right? Who do you know yourself to be? Well, I work really good with children. I love being around animals, being in silence, getting my hands dirty in the earth. That's where my joy is. Taking photographs, making movies, writing screenplays, being on the stage, singing, acting, whatever it is, like whatever it is that you know, that you've known, since you've known, that's the purity of where desire can come from. And now there are so many fractals. I was recently speaking with someone who knows that her fate, that her destiny in this world is to have this sacred other and to have a family. And she really, like, that's her focus. She knows that that's for her, Yet, in a deep conversation with her, she said, but you know what? I feel that the person that I really long to be with, that sacred other that I know is truly my beshared in this life, I can't be with them because of certain circumstances. And isn't it interesting? In long view from that session that I had with her, it became known that the person that she knows as her sacred other is actually her father in this life. So understanding these multidimensional past life intricacies, intimacies of how we dance in this world, right? In this life, right? Maybe somewhere in the world it would be appropriate for that to happen. Yet in this life, in this world, it's not for the highest good. It's not the appropriate thing. So there's this part of her heart that knows that she's never going to have it with that sacred other that she knows is like her soulmate or her twin flame, right? Yet she's had to allow her desire to be pure, that to allow her to have the experience, to hold the intention of family, of meeting a sacred other. And maybe they're not going to be that twin flame or that soulmate that she's known from past lives. Yet to fulfill this certain order that is a truth in her heart, she allows herself to have that intention be clear and be pure. And she has allowed herself to have the destiny that she knows is the truth in her heart without the desire that can distract her, without the desire to think it needs to happen a certain way, or without the desire being crushed from her higher awareness, knowing that it's never going to happen in this life with that one person that she knows is the person. She has surrendered to the purity of having this experience of family in this life with someone who is not that sacred other. And she'll find another sacred other, but it's not going to be that one that she knows is the one, the one. Lovers. It is so very tricky. And again, there's, for years and years and years, family and friends have laid off me now because they get it. They get that I do things in a different way. Okay, Tammy's saying allow and let God. Yes, sister, absolutely. Oh, wow, Sunitha's here. You know what, let me just drop down into these comments a little more. Blessing, Sunitha. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, allowing God. So we step out of the way. We get out of the way, right? When our desires are aligned with that truth. So again, what is your truth? What do you know about yourself? you know, and you don't have to type it in the comment box, you know, but it's resting in that and knowing that it's already done. When we get out of the way and let go of control, let go of thinking that we need to make it happen, as I thought I needed to make it happen in my book, creating this lover, creating this Prius, up committing suicide, attempting, pardon me, suicide in that very Prius. I mean, how bizarre do we have to get before we get it, before I got it? That's how bizarre my life had to get before I did a full 180 and realized the way I've been creating life, the way I've been needing and wanting for things to show up, yeah, let me drop that now. Let me completely relinquish any need and want for anything that is not here now. And it's a big one. It's a big corner to turn, yet we do it as we trust in love, as we put our trust in faith in knowing that if it's in your heart, it already is. Maybe you're an actor and you know that you see your name in lights. You know, and it's not coming from an ego like, I really need that in order to be happy, but you just know from the purity of your heart, you're like, I've seen it since I was a boo-boo. I know that I'm supposed to be out there shining my light and singing and dancing and just channeling that love and that light, because that's who I am, that's what I do. Yet you go for audition after audition after audition, and you're not getting callbacks. They're not calling you. You're not getting the gigs. And so you can use your free will to get depressed. You can forget that it's a part of your pure desire, and you can get skewed in your intentions. And instead of remembering that it is already done, and so relaxing and resting there and allowing divine order and happenstance and your fate to provide serendipity and divine sweet circumstances whereby it serves you, your path is served, but the higher good of, right? You can use your intention to try to force your will, to try to force that will. Well, I really wanted to get that play. I really wanted to get that gig. And now that I didn't get it, my happiness depends on it. So I'm going to be totally depressed, and I'm going to start to doubt. I'm going to start to doubt the clear, the pure desire, that which I know is my truth in my heart, you see. And that's the moment that faith is like, oh, right? That faith is not given the right of way. As you know, I listen to all the different channels on the radio. Everything from hip hop, you know, whatever, top 40, NPR, eclectic, Jesus stations, Baptist stations, evangelist stations. I listen to all of it. And there was this beautiful talk yesterday between these two ministers, and they were saying that the true rest, our true peace, resides in knowing it is already done and allowing what is to be done, the truth in your heart, that clear desire, that clear dream, the clear truth of you that you know is it is already yours. You would not have it here if it was not yours. Now you have your free will on how you're going to adventure story and find your way to it. And it's either going to bring you, right, greater joy, greater peace, or otherwise, or something in between. But the point is that there's a space that we get to where we realize it's not your will, where we realize there is a very powerful order of peace, where we are in the world and not of it, where we give ourselves up. Where would you have me go, God? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? Your life is yours, yet you've surrendered your life, your hands, your voice, your eyes, your body, your abilities, your gifts to love. And you say, use me, love. And this is when life really starts to change. Because it's not about the desires that come from need and want. It is not about those intentions that come from need and want. It is my intention to create this Prius because I fucking hate having a bus pass. That's where my intentions were coming from, in all honesty, back in the day, right? I'm so lonely. I'm so sick of being alone. I want a lover, you know, and that's fine. It's fine. Yet we turn enough corners, we enlighten over time and space, that we begin to realize, if we really do our work and look at ourselves and look at what is coming to pass, what we are manifesting, what we are allowing to be created and co-created by us, through us, and to us in our lives, we begin to realize, is this really in harmony with my perfect joy and happiness? Is this in alignment with my integrity, with my authenticity? And funny, I conjured this man and got engaged to him, yet deep in my heart, I never, ever, ever wanted to be married. And I still don't. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I completely got sucked into the societal spell of thinking I needed things, and thinking I needed to want and desire things that I was lacking. And so getting the vision board, and I'm not saying anything bad about all that stuff, for when the heart is rooted in those divine, grand visions through our vision boards, or our wishes and our intentions and our prayers, as those are aligned with that pure desire, with that pure, that destiny, that sense of fate that you know is yours, like that man who's the actor who knows he's here to do that. So let us rest, let us relax into that, and let love and let God and let that higher order be served through us. Let us be of service. And that's what it comes down to, right? Is allowing ourselves to be of service. And there is a huge surrender. And this is what I've been going through since I've gone through, well, anyway, that's a long story. But over the last 2, maybe 3 years, there's been a realization of surrender. And it's a process. And it's little by little letting yourself go to God, letting yourself go to love, letting go of how I think I need things to show up. And again, my family, my friends, there's people who are like, you should already be, selling this amount of books. You should already be doing XYZ. You should already be. Great. Thank you. I appreciate, I appreciate your perception. Yet I'm doing it my way. And honestly, my way is almost not even my way at all. It is my way of relaxing into allowing myself to be shown and to be led. And it is a very different experience. It's one thing to have a desire and to use one's free will to get from A to B. You have a desire to make $1 million, and you're going to make that $1 million no matter what. Do you like who you're being en route to that $1 million? Are you having a good time? Is it causing you pain and stress and physical ailments? Is it breaking up your marriage? Is it causing you to break out in hives? Or to become so greedy and needy that your friends don't want to hang out with you anymore? It's like this very interesting, again, Twilight Zone, Alfred Hitchcock lessons that we don't see, I think, until we bump into enough of them and we're honest enough with ourselves, and we take a path, we take that step on the path of healing. That we look at ourselves and we look at our stuff and we're like, oh man, let me just be real. And then we start cleaning out the house. We start cleaning out toxins, the old emotions. We start healing. We start praying. We start having and cultivating forgiveness for ourselves and others. We start breathing, doing yoga, meditating, taking a walk in, by the ocean, whatever it might be, to remember. And remember what I say. And actually, is it what I say? It's what I say, but it's what was given just a couple weeks ago. I believe I shared with it last week at 4DT, that what came in the meditation is that this world is a place that we come collectively. We come here to forget, and we come here to remember. That's all we're doing is we're forgetting that love is the truth, and then we remember that love is the truth, and then we forget that love is the truth, and then we remember that love is the truth. And it cycles, the dark ages, the light ages. And so maybe perhaps all those gurus who slept with their, beloved students and whatnot, perhaps that was leaning more into the dark ages, and not that that isn't happening now. Yet teachers and gurus now, perhaps because we're coming into the light age, the light ages, there is more light that we can use our free will and our intention to drive a pure desire, to move the energy from the loins to the heart as it's guided. Maybe you're destined to have intercourse with that student or that teacher. Maybe it's a part of your fate. I'm not one to say. I'm just saying that there's these changes that we, activate within ourselves when we let go to a higher order. So with that, I want to read from A Course in Miracles in the text, chapter 25, page 518, just one sentences that speak to that little blip that I was sharing about that radio show, where those two ministers were saying, the real rest, your real peace comes from letting go and knowing that it is done, but also that it is not done by you, that Christ has got it, that God, that love does it through you. And in fact, it is already done. The truth in your heart, it is already done. Letting go of how we think we need things to show up in order for us to be happy. And if you watch my tarot readings for several weeks, I think we just came out of it with this last reading, but for several weeks, it's been this relinquishing of that we're doing it. We're controlling our lovers. We're controlling our careers, our relationships. And granted, there's a responsibility, right? And we want to be integral. We want to be authentic and aligned with these aspects, right? From a place of truth and honesty and all these good things. Yet there's this fine line that as we become enlightened, as we draw, all that is bringing more light into ourselves, honoring, seeing on purpose more love and more light, speaking it, being it, embodying it, that we begin to illumine. And we begin to see, oh, where am I forcing a will? Where can I let go and just trust? And again, the moment we let go and we trust is the moment that love, that light can come in and do the metaphysics, turn the lead into gold, help us see more of our truth in love, in light. And from that simply being illuminated, that's what I talk about in my book, How to Manifest with the Law of Vibration. You gain vibration power. More of your truth is added unto you seamlessly, perfectly, under grace and for the highest good of all, because it is you. And you simply knowing that it is and trusting it and leaning into it, relaxing into it, allows vibrationally that to be matched and met within you. And so if there's the truth in your heart and you know you're a star, but you haven't gotten on Broadway yet, or whatever it is, or like I'm like, I know I'm a best-selling author. Honey, that has not happened yet. And I'm not attached to it happening or how it needs to happen. Yet the point is that when we align with love, when we step out of the way and we let love, we let God, we let those higher frequencies show us the way, we allow, then we're on standby through our meditations, through our prayers, through that intimate connection that we cultivate with higher self, where higher self is constantly talking to us. And so we trust. When you get a blip on your radar from higher self that says, do this, do that, you know your truth, your pure destiny, your pure desire, and higher self, all the divine synchronicities and serendipities of the world and of the earth will come to meet you, and they will help open doors for you. They will tap you on the shoulder and guide you in a certain coffee shop that you can bump into that person who wants to give you that phone number or the name to that website where you can find another connection. It's a breadcrumb trail. And this is where the magic happens in this world. This is the magic of miracles, not the magic of manipulation, of forcing a will, of trying to make things happen. And I know, again, there's a fine line because, yes, have your intentions. Yes, know what you want, right? Or know what is your truth in your heart. Like bumper cars, we bump into things and we're like, okay, that's one way to do it. I don't have to do it like that again. You know, we can keep coming back and forth to that. Yet there's this sense of that relinquishing the need for things to show up in the way that you need them to show up, that I need them to show up, so that that divine order can come through and divinely organize people, places, situations that not only serve you, but that serve the greater whole. So the link to truth. It cannot be that it is hard to do the task that Christ appointed you to do, since it is he who does it. You see, when we push, when we know there's a truth in our hearts, and we think time is real and it's not happening yet. And so where is it? And so my happiness wants to be tugged. Even if I'm enlightened, I'm getting on my road to enlightenment, but my happiness wants to be tugged and challenged because life is not showing up in the way that is matching what I know is right. That keeps us bound to time. That keeps us locked in the illusion of the 3D and the binary. Instead of loosening ourselves and freeing ourselves into the trinary, which is letting God do it through you, letting Christ do the work through you, letting yourself be shown, allowed. It cannot be that it is hard to do the task that Christ appointed, that is the clear desire, the clear destiny, the fate that you know is yours and is appointed to you, since it is Christ who does it, right? It's not us anyway. It's us when we force a will, when we manipulate, when we try to seduce, when we try to, when we need, when we want. That is us doing it. When we get us out of the way, then love creates the correct conditions whereby all needs are met. Everything you could want. And you see, this is the thing, because we get stuck on what we think we want and what we think we need and how it's supposed to show up for us, and trying to control that little fine tuning of all that stuff. And now granted, stay in tune with higher self. It will tell you where you need to fine tune, where you can fine tune, where you can align. Yet there's that golden moment of that relinquishing that blasts everything that you think of the way that you know. Two very different planes, knowing and thinking, right? When we let go of how we think things need to show up in order for us to be happy, the divine is given free reign, full space and time to create miracles in our lives and bring about things and situations and blessings in ways that we could never have imagined on our own. And I know I'm getting very passionate here, but because I know this to be true. I know this to be true. I wrote a book about it. So, and in the doing of it, will you learn the body merely seems to be the means to do it. For the mind is his, meaning the mind is God's, the mind is love, the mind is aligned with Christ consciousness, and so it must be yours. God's holiness directs the body through the mind at one with God. So again, when we allow ourselves, we give ourselves our passions, our pure desires, the things that we know are the truth in our hearts. When we give it to God, when we relax and we rest, just like those two ministers were saying, like that's the true peace. That is the true peace, is knowing that it's already done and that there's nothing that really you're going to do to make it happen. It's a weird one, and it's a hard one, because we're told, we're taught that you got to make it happen. Even in the land of woo and spirituality, you got to make your vision board. You have to write 1,000 affirmations. I mean, I've taught students this stuff over many years, and now I'm like, whoa, okay, wait a minute. Yes, and always align with the heart. Once you align with the heart, with the truth in your heart, with the clear, pure desire, with that destiny, that fate that you know is your truth in your heart, yes, then let's make a little vision board about it. Then let's you generate the feeling realization, the vibrational frequency, the qualities of getting excited about that. Yes, yet not only from the mind, but a joining with the heart, and from that heart space, using your free will, cultivating clearer and clearer and pure intentions. You may want to kiss that person. They might want to kiss you. Yet is it coming purely from a place of needing and wanting? And when you sit back as your higher self and say, well, what is my intention? My intention is to experience divine intimacy with this other person for the highest good. Everything, once you put the for the highest good on the end of it, then it's like you just get to let go of how you think it needs to show up. But here's the beauty, is that you know when it does show up, is that it's real. It hasn't been seduced into becoming. It hasn't been manipulated. It hasn't been done by way of magic, but by way of miracle, by way of allowing. It is not forcing life, but to dance with the vibrations, how life goes. That's beautiful. Oh, blessings, Lucky's horoscope. Nice to see you here. Videos, absolutely will. Thank you so much for hopping on and saying hello. So let's check the time. Oh, I went over today. So we are going to end with a little brief meditation. I'm so very grateful for everyone being here. And this is a topic that we can go on and on and on and on. But I think we did we did a lot of covering a lot of things, and we're going to round it off now. This is one version of a Peruvian shaker that is guided to be used today. We're going to do just a small meditation. I'm going to invite us. We're going to take a few breaths here in a moment, and we're going to move into a realm whereby we're going to allow the sound of the shaker to simply clear and cleanse and purify the desires that we hold in our hearts, that they be uneschewed by the control aspect of the mind, by lack consciousness, by all the subconscious and subliminal messages and patterning we pick up in the world, so that we can be clear, be pure in our intentions, make moves and actions, and be activated through our free will in ways that serve ourselves and others for the highest good, not just for our highest good or for what we think we need and want things to show up as, so that we can rest in the illusion of happiness, but to truly be that, to be that which you are, is the happiness, is the peace. And to also, again, that other piece of the puzzle is to know so deeply that if it's here, it already, from how I feel or think that I need to have it happen and make it happen in order to know that it's really happening. Let me allow this mystical, divine, sovereign quality to change, that I may be shown where to go, what to do, what to say, and to whom, as a part of my mythic adventure in this life of allowing the truth in my heart to come to pass in the most beautiful ways that serve me, my perfect joy, my perfect health, and the perfect bliss of one and all. So let's take a moment and close our eyes and take a deep breath in and take a deep breath out. And again, a deep breath in and out. And one more. From this place, we connect with our higher self. So imagine yourself connecting with your higher self with ease. Self. And from our heart space, we imagine entering a crystal cave, a rose quartz crystal cave that is beautiful, soft, rose pink vibrations, rose pink colors and hues. And as we enter this crystal cave, this rose pink crystal cave, we find a sacred mat, a sacred blanket, a sacred space to lay down. And as we make our way to laying down as ourselves to our higher self, we can feel the slab, this beautiful, cool, yet warm rose quartz under our bodies, under the blanket. We can feel the frequencies of the healing, of the love, that mystical quality of faith, that this vibration of rose pink, that this vibration of this quartz, this rose quartz crystal holds for us. And we lay and we surrender and we unclench our fists and we soften our jaw, relax our toes, and allow our bodies to be held by this mat, by this blanket, by this beautiful crystal that we lay upon now. And we lay here and we surrender. We surrender all those things that bring us pain, the needing and the wanting for our lives to be any different from how they are. No matter what your circumstances, no matter what's happening now, just finding, even if it's a tiny little spark of light within, that is allowing that things are just perfect right the way they are. And that this is a point, a turning point, whereby you can begin to see things differently. You can begin to experience yourself, your life differently. You can begin to experience your health, your reality with a capital R differently. You can indeed begin to bridge your version of heaven on earth, of peace on earth, of namaste consciousness, of being in the world and not of it, by releasing the stress of needing things to show up and be ways that the mind has been trained to think it needs them to be. Just letting all that go, letting all of it go to love, to light, to God, to source, to universe, to great creator, to the sun, whatever name you give, the eternal power of love. Whether it's financial, whether it's in an intimate relationship with a potential lover, or your husband, your wife, your children, your committed relationship bond, sacred other, whether it's with your career, whether it's with money, with your health, with your physical body, just feeling not at peace with what is, just allowing all of that to be present, allowing yourself to acknowledge those aspects, but then allowing the beautiful presence of this warm rose quartz crystal that you lay upon to gently dissolve, to gently release and transmute all those fragments that cause anxiety, that cause stress, that cause us to be stuck in time, that cause us to think that we are bound by time, that we are bound by space. O divine, eternal power of love, we give you our stresses, we give you our impatience, we give you all of those parts of us that live in fear, that live in pain, that need, that want things to be different. We thank you for helping us to realize that it is in sitting with our pain, in sitting with things exactly as they are, with relinquishing any need at all, for there to be any change. We thank you for helping us to remember that this is the way for that change, for that divine alignment, for that divine transmutation and healing to take place. It is at first to become one, to acknowledge, to honor, and to embrace, no matter what it looks like, what it feels like, that which is exactly now. And through placing love here, through embracing our circumstances, our bodies, our finances, our creations, our lovers, our lovers, whatever all of it might be in our worlds, by letting it be with grace what it is now, we thank you for bringing us into that place of remembering that we already have what it is we need, what it is we require in this life. May we remember that all of our needs are met. And may we move out of the way of forcing, of gripping, of grasping, of needing, of wanting, that a sacred and holy space is made through us by which your love, your light, your grace, your majesty, your profound perception that is knowledge, that is faith, that moves mountains, that creates miracles in our presence. May we remember here and now that this is an inherent gift bestowed unto us, through us, and to others for the highest good of all. And all we get to do is make space for you, sacred, holy, eternal power of love. And so we lay now in surrender on our blanket, on our mat, on this powerful, warm rose quartz crystalline floor of this warm rose quartz crystalline cave. And we relax even further. And we release need. We release scarcity. We release lack. We release feeling that we need to have everything figured out. We release and relinquish control. And we allow ourselves to align with trust, the mystical power of divine certainty that is in tune and aligned with those gifts, those visions that we came into this life with, that we remember, that we know are our truth, that we know are our inherent fate and destiny. We ask by our angels, by our guides, by all those light beings who love us, to help us remember how to relax into that trust, how to relax, how to rest into that knowing, and how to release the bonds of time and space as we've been taught to know them, that we may be freed into the land of no time and into the now moment where miracles happen, where destiny becomes fate, and where we meet and are aligned with our companions of destiny, the sacred and the holy others that are here to truly hold space for us, and vice versa. So we lay now, and for this next minute, we play the rattle, and we allow the sound, the loud sound of the rattle, to continue to break up, to soften, to marinate any hard edges, any fears, any places within us that are stuck on gripping and grasping and needing things to be the way that we think they need to be. Instead, we let go and we surrender to the heart. We surrender to love. We surrender to timelessness. And so become that. When we breathe in and we breathe out, we breathe in and we breathe out. We breathe in and we breathe out. And from this reclined position on the floor of this beautiful rose quartz crystalline cave, we place our palms down and off of our blanket and off of our mat, and we touch this rose quartz. We feel her. We connect with her and we say thank you. We extend gratitude to this sacred, holy space of healing. And we feel ourselves filled with this beautiful frequency of love, of peace, of compassion, of forgiveness, of trust, of love and only love. And we feel that rose quartz color, that beautiful pink, filling the spaces between our cells and through our blood and through our DNA, into our minds and our tongue, through the words we share. We breathe it in and we breathe it out. And before we leave this crystalline cave, we take one more moment that we know ourselves filled with this beautiful frequency, and we extend it out. We extend it out all around ourselves, and we extend it out to our day, to our family, to our friends, our loved ones, our creations. We extend it out to our lovers, our potential lovers, to our children, to our pets, to our homes, to our finances. All those divine creations we channel through into this world. We extend and we extend and we allow that love, that frequency of that rose quartz, that beautiful energy to just channel through us and for the highest good of all. In this vision, begin to awaken from your mat. Feel yourself awakening, making any moves in your physical body in this vision. Take one more look around this beautiful rose quartz crystalline cave, acknowledging and thanking this space, and thanking your higher self for being with you always, for helping you, for helping us, the higher self, the collective higher self that we share. We thank you for continually serving and creating the correct conditions, for always being present, that we may remember the truth, that love is the truth, that we can rest in love, that we can relax in love, and let love do all of the organizing. Let love take care of everything, that we may be on standby, that we may, within our own minds and bodies and emotions, create the correct conditions that we may remember that love, that we may have that clear connect with you, higher self, so that as your divine counsel and guidance comes through our waking life, our meditations, all the ways in our dreams, all the ways that you do come through, that we may be clear and sober and ready to receive the divine revelation of your word, of your nuances, of your synchronicities, that we may be guided upon our mythic adventure of the pure desire, the pure faith, the pure intention, the purity of accessing and utilizing our free will along that road of self-discovery, of growth, of pure joy, of allowing our dreams, our pure desires to come to be, for they are already done. We step out of the way and we allow that highest order of love to do the work through us. We thank our higher self, and we gently make our way from this cave and find ourselves back in the room or the space wherever you are, sitting or laying down. Take a breath and start to blink the eyes open. That was so very powerful. You know, in closing, I just want to let you know that it is a very, very profound step that we're taking together. This has been my personal journey of late. You know, it's one thing, and it's a step in that direction of relinquishing our need and our want for things to happen and show up the way we want them to, whether it's money or lovers or career, aspects. And it's another thing to continue every day, every moment of the day, to surrender. And it will show us, as we surrender in earnest, it will show us those areas where we have yet to surrender, those areas where we still hold pain from the past, those areas where we still hold patterns and beliefs, fears of the past. And so they come up, that we may be with them, acknowledge them, and allow a healing. And we turn another corner to deeper truth, to greater light. I'm on that path myself. And there's a lot of self to give up. But interestingly enough, there's more self as we give up the self that we think we need to be. I'm so grateful for you. And again, I celebrate we're at 888 subscribers. And truth be known, when I first started these tarot readings, I don't know, we're at like a year and a half or 2 years almost of doing them. I remember saying in one of the tarot readings, you know, that my wish or my want was to have 3,000 subscribers by Christmas years ago or whatever it was. And obviously that has not come to pass. That was a needing, wanting desire, you know. Yet when I let go of that 3D requirement in order for me to have some happiness, or in order for it to mean like, oh, I'm getting places on YouTube or whatever these 3D things are, when I let that go and really had no mind about however many viewers or subscribers there are, there's actually so much more. And I know that those of you that are here, thank you for commenting and for hopping. Know though that those who are subscribed are here because they want to be here. It is genuine. And so I thank you. I thank you for sharing this space, for holding space with me, for all of the love and the light that you are here in this community in 888. I'm going to be looking that up today. I feel so honored. So thank you so much. If you are new, hit the subscribe button. If you appreciate these messages, I have loads of videos, over 300 videos on all sorts of spiritual, metaphysical stuff, including Reiki, meditation. I'm also on Instagram. All of my links are down in the show more box below. You can donate to this channel. There's a PayPal link. I have a couple of free mini books. You can subscribe at my website, tuesdaymaythomas.com, and receive my monthly love letter. I send out a blog and information about my teachings. And there's always stuff there that you will receive in that love letter that those who are not subscribed do not have access to. I also have a couple of books that you can buy at iBooks, at Amazon and Kindle, and Kobo for my Canadian viewers. I know we have a Canadian viewership, and I'm so very grateful. Thank you, everyone all over the world. If you like this video, give me the thumbs up. You can share it with your friends. Thank you again so very much. I am Tuesday May Thomas, and this is 4D Trinity, our weekly live stream where we bridge fourth dimensional consciousness through the unity of mind, body, and emotions. Thank you with so much love. Namaste. Namaste. Blessings, everyone.